Hey YouTubers, my name is Brittany. This is actually my first video doing something like this. Actually just got off the phone and wanted to just speak on something I was talking to my friend about because it kind of got me a little bit upset, which, I mean, I've been upset, but we just had a really great discussion and I felt like I should pass it along. Can't keep going in life complaining about things and not doing anything about it. So this is me reaching out. Hopefully it'll touch somebody, reach somebody, and encourage you as well to try to do something to make a difference. So I am from Chicago, originally from Chicago, born and raised, and nowadays Chicago is making its national news, and not in a good way. You hear a lot about the shootings and the killings and things like that. As far as Chicago, that's what it's known for now. They call it Chiraq, which I don't embrace, never did, never will. But it has been an issue for some years, and it's only been getting worse for the past couple of years, especially. So just something I just want to speak out with and just enlighten people, for people who don't know, who never visited Chicago, or I know you hear about it, but to actually live it is different. So I currently don't live in Chicago anymore for various reasons, but all of my family is still in Chicago, and I do frequently visit still. So I just want to talk about the problems in Chicago as far as like the source and the things that not necessarily we can change, but we can still open the door to just putting light on the situation, basically. So the thing is, a lot of people want to say, they're thugs and they're this and they're that, and these thugs are killing just innocent people, innocent bystanders, and killing each other and things like that, which, yeah, you can call them thugs, but they weren't always thugs. And the source of the problem is at home. At the end of the day, if you don't have someone to encourage you or someone to keep you off of the streets, then yes, you're going to go to the streets. The problem is that our fathers are not in the home anymore. We have these mothers who work so hard. They work 2 and 3 jobs to keep food on the table, to pay these bills, and they do so much just to keep afloat. And they're, sometimes they come home and the kids are outside after school on the streets, or they come home and they don't have necessarily time to spend with the children as much because they're working so much. It all boils down to single mother. Everything, she's carrying the whole load. Like, there's no one to help her out. She might have family, the grandmother watch the kids and things like that, somebody to help out. But at the end of the day, the men speak life into the children. That's the bottom line. So if we do not have our fathers present in the home to speak life into the children, then who is? We have our moms, which I'm not downplaying them. My sister's a single mother of 4, and this girl, I'm telling you, she works her butt off, and kudos to her. She had 3 boys, and I have a niece. But not to get off the issue, because I do ramble a lot. But needless to say, it's hard. It's hard on a woman to try to raise kids by herself. So, like I said, like, these children, sometimes they slip through the crack. Like, sometimes, they're not getting that attention that they need from mom because everything's on her. Like, she's overwhelmed. Like, she has so much going on. So they go outside, They go outside to play, and they might see somebody in the corner and get caught up in things like that. And the public school system is just a source as well. But so it's a lot of different avenues and temptations for are males to get attracted to, especially if the foundation is not laid. For me, I grew up on the South Side. I grew up in Inglewood, in Chicago. So, I mean, it was a bad neighborhood growing up, but it wasn't as bad as it is now. Like, the shooting, the killings, they're getting ridiculous. Like, they have no remorse. They have no sense of humanity, morals, anything. Like, they go after children now. They just open fire in crowds. They don't care. They don't care about life. I don't know what happened. I don't know how it got this bad, but it's just something I felt like I needed to speak out on, because there needs to be something done about it. So these men are getting raised by the street, and it's all they know. So I'm not making excuses for them. That's not what this is. But it's just more so letting you know how it is in Chicago. So if this is all they know, this is all that they've been accustomed to, and then you have different avenues of stereotypes and things that's reaching them. So they just have this perception that, this is who they are. This is, they can't look past their surroundings. It's just like tunnel vision. So it's very important that you encourage and you speak, you try to lift them up. And sometimes they don't get that from the home, or like, even if they do, we downplay the significance of it, as far as, just giving them like, I'm proud of you, right? You can do this, you can be anything you want to be. And it's just like the little things that can go a really long way for somebody who doesn't know what to do, who's confused and have no direction. They don't know their purpose in life. So then they try to find it out in somewhere, and they try to get somebody to, tell them, speak something into them. So then they go and they get that from the streets. It's like, oh man, you got it, or you can get this money, or you can do this, you got this. You know what I'm saying? So they're getting their encouragement from the wrong source, and it's so sad. And it's about respect for them, where like the killings are, they're gonna respect me though. But is it worth your life? Seriously? I remember I was having a conversation with a relative of mine who's 14, by the way. Let me just make that clear. He's 14. And he was just saying how he was stressed out. So I'm like, stressed out? Boy, you 14. What you mean you stressed out, right? I'm like, come talk to me when you're 30. Then you remember this conversation, and then come talk to me when you're 30. Then you talk about being stressed when you got a little life under your belt. So he's like, 30? If I make it to 30. See, the issue is that these men, these boys, they're dying long before the bullet reaches them. They lose hope. They don't have an encouragement. They just, they're lost. They have no sense of being. So if they have nothing to live for, then they're going to die for something, or they're going to die for the glory or respect. I got my respect though. But when you die, people are going to continue to live at the end of the day. So it's not worth it. To me, it's not worth it. And for some people, they can't see past that because they're living in the moment and things like that. But it's just so disheartening. It's sad. It just breaks my heart. It really does, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. But it's just so common. It's just, I don't know how to get past it. So what I do know how to do is pray. So I encourage you, if I know the Black Lives Movement, they're really strong about the police brutality. I want to also encourage that movement as well to pick up the shootings as well in our community, and also be an advocate for our community. pray for our men, encourage our men, keep them off the streets, keep them out of jail, something. Like, we have to do something. We have to speak out about it. And the sad thing is, this is not everybody, but some of the people that have the voice to speak out are the problem. You have these rappers out here who are talking about getting money and shooting and getting respect. It's all about respect my name, right? So the mentality is that, they see these women on TV just shaking their butt, getting money, getting hoes, whatever. And that's what they're aiming for. Social media has so much power over this generation. And I'm not, the rappers, you got to make your money. I get it. But at what point is it worth losing an entire generation? Because that's basically what it is. Chicago is only one city. So let's just be clear. Detroit is worse than Chicago. You got Oakland, worse than Chicago. Chicago is getting this rep because it's a large city and it's a problem. But there are worse cities out there than Chicago. I'm just speaking about Chicago because I'm from Chicago. So there are problems going on in every aspect. In California, Los Angeles, Inglewood, here in Los Angeles. You have shootings here too in Compton. I mean, it's just all over. It's not going anywhere. And we need to do something about it. At least we need to acknowledge that it's a problem, so we don't get accustomed to just living this lifestyle. And I remember having a conversation with a friend. They had called me and they were like, "Oh, Chase died." And I was just like, "How many times did he get shot?" And so they're just like, no, he didn't get shot. And I'm just like, oh. And so it's just like, it's sad because your mind goes there. It's just like an automatic, like, shooting in Chicago. It's just like, that's not okay. That's not okay for you to automatically assume that any friend, family member, or somebody who loses their life has lost it to gun violence in the black community. I'm sorry. That's not okay. It's not okay in no aspect. And it's just so sad. So sad. And I just feel like we need to talk about it more and acknowledge it more. I do feel like there are a lot of groups in Chicago who are trying to get the guns off the streets. I'm so sorry. I do not know what I ate. But there are a lot of groups who are trying to get guns off the street and who are publicly speaking about the issue. So that is something. But I think for basically, if you know somebody and they out doing this and you know it, we can't save everybody. I know that. But that's not going to stop me from trying. Like, I'm going to do my part. I'm going to do my part as much as I can. And what I do know how to do is pray. So I'm going to go through the community and ask God to touch our men, protect them, cover them, encourage them, lift them up, speak life into them, show them their purpose in this world so they are not lost and that they do not deter from your path. But God, He got some work to do. So, I just encourage you, if you are a praying warrior, you don't have to be a Christian, but speak something. Like, protect our men, Lord, please. I'm tired of losing them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not okay. And that's just the bottom line. Don't get so just desensitized to the fact that it's just something that happens. That it's just like, it should never be okay to get used to. Never. So, I remember, and I lost, I know a few people that I lost to gun violence, but The one for me who that bothered, because you know, you hear about it, but there's no connection for people. They just say, oh yeah, a shooting happened again this weekend in Chicago, a 27-year-old or something, he was a father or something like that, and you don't know the backstory of that person. So for me, it was my best friend at the time. We were in college, I think. Yeah, we were in college, and it was her boyfriend, who was also the father of her child, who was 10 months at the time, and we were on our way to the club, actually, downtown Chicago, when she got a phone call saying he got shot. So for me, this was, this is my best friend. So, she's freaking out. I'm trying to encourage her, be positive. Like, you don't know it's him, though. You don't know it's him. Just, go to the hospital, or go, let's just go to the hospital and see what's going on. We get to the hospital, and, they have all his family is in the waiting area. And then, we're there. I'm there with her and a few of her other friends, all the people that were in the car. And they came out and pronounced him dead. You know what I mean? And for me, I watched her just drop to the floor. For me, that was the hardest thing to do, is to watch somebody that you love and cannot do anything to help them. This man had a 10-month-old who he was active in his life, and he passed away. Now, he was, whatever, but he wasn't no thug. He wasn't really like out there in the streets like that. It was like just an incident that happened and he got shot. So for me, that was hard for me. Even though he was my friend, it was more so hard for me to watch my best friend at the time, who I couldn't do anything about it. You know what I mean? And it's just, you don't know, like, every single person has a story. Every single person has family or friends that hurt. And, they get so caught up in the fact that, well, yeah, I got him, but his family is still standing and they still dealing with this hurt. And for me, I got to see my friend, my best friend, over time become this bitter woman who was just seeking revenge, who was just driven by rage. She turned into a completely different person. And I mean, that's people deal with hurt different ways. You know what I mean? So there's a story behind every life that is lost. And I don't ever want this world or anybody to get used to the fact that, oh yeah, somebody else died. But somebody died who there's a story behind that. Whether they were a father, whether they were a son. There's mamas out here sonless. I'm sorry, I do not want to bury my child. I do not want to bury my child. So, I mean, this was years ago. And it bothers me, because, you know what I mean? It hurts until you've been in that situation, until you've seen it firsthand, until you know that person, until you love that person. It doesn't mean anything to you. It's just another storyline. So I'm encouraging you and bringing light to the fact that this world that we live in, we only get one life. So hold your man tight, ladies. Fam mothers, I know you out there, you trying your best. Fathers, I encourage you, if you have children, to be a part of their life. Like, speak life into them, encourage them, like, let them know that they are loved. At the end of the day, that's all they need. That's all they need. Somebody to tell them, like, I love you. I love you. You have so much potential. You do. Let me be the first to say, if nobody ever told you, you have no idea the possibilities that you could do. I mean, it's hard, especially by yourself. I can't really say, yes, I grew up in Inglewood, but at the end of the day, I always had my family. They were always there to support me, encourage me, lift me up, everything. I had my mom, I had my dad, I had my sister, I had my brothers, I had cousins, uncles, aunties, extended family. We were all close, and we all had each other back. So I had that source. And so for me, I made it out, as people would say, but I didn't make it out by myself. Not without God and my family and a few friends to keep me on the straight and narrow. Like I say, I give credit to all of them and I thank them. But man, I just hope that this video touches somebody, it reaches somebody, and encourages somebody that we need to speak out about it. I mean, it's not okay. It's not. One life to live, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take it for what it's worth. So I hope that you stay blessed, be safe, and just pray. That's all we can do. All right, y'all.